Morningsiders haven't been face-to-face since going into spring break due to COVID-19. Our face-to-face conversations have transferred over to WebEx or Zoom conferences. It has become common to ask the question, "How's it going?" when seeing familiar faces. But there are some faces we haven't had the opportunity to ask the question, in person or virtually.
Today I've been feeling pretty sad. I had to leave my house in Sioux City. We moved out a month earlier than we originally wanted to, but I don't know, it's a little weird. I had to adult sooner than I expected.
A lot. It's like mixed emotions. Like, it really sucks just because of the whole, circumstance. But, then at the same time, I'm grateful because I'm still able to finish like the semester and not have to be behind. But it's a lot. It's very overwhelming and frustrating and upsetting.
Yeah, sort of day to day. Yeah, I feel for the most part just fine. I'm really grateful to still have my job and my immediate family is well. We haven't had to deal with any of the really major acute stresses that go along with this. So I don't have family who has gotten sick, and I don't have folks close to me who have gotten sick. I also don't have either in my immediate family or really in my extended family. We haven't yet been hit by major unemployment stuff and things like that. And then just in general, the word that I have come back to is there's this word lassitude is this word. It just sort of means just a general, it's weariness, and I feel that just being kind of weary and not necessarily at anything in particular, but just this sense of just in general weariness and exhaustion that doesn't really have anything specific to any specific cause.
I feel like the world is full of a certain amount of anxiety always, right? But this situation has heightened our collective anxiety around and focused it around a particular source, obviously COVID-19, that in a way that has made it both difficult in our everyday lives, obviously very scary, depending on your loved ones and health conditions and other kind of underlying factors. Your vulnerability as far as your job status and where you're getting your money from. But also it's helped band us together around certain things that are pretty unexpected. Band us together around our collective feeling that it's great to be in a room with other people and our appreciation for little things that we didn't realize we would miss until we actually started to miss them.
Oh, I feel good. It's just, it's weird. I think any of us that work in higher education have chosen to work at places like Morningside because we enjoy people. And I enjoy the interaction with faculty, staff, students, alumni, people in the community. And that's a big part of what I do. And that's been taken away. And I miss it.
Everyone has thoughts about the world currently or about personal situations.
Well, if we're talking about the world, I find myself frustrated a lot. I stay home a lot, saving the world from my couch. And then, you see people, whether it's on social media or you hear about it, out doing things that aren't necessarily necessary, I guess. I get we're not supposed to leave unless it's necessary. And I saw a thing about how just because one thing doesn't look necessary doesn't mean it's not. And I totally get that. there could be somebody buying paint and you're like, that's not necessary, but doing jobs around the house, maybe that one thing that doesn't let that person, slip back into a really bad depression. Like, I get that kind of thing. It's just like seeing people going and hanging out with people still. And it's just very frustrating that if somebody's not taking it as seriously as they could. And like earlier today, we were coming back from getting groceries actually. And I was just thinking like how frustrated I was that, this was happening in general because, somebody somewhere did something that I had nothing to do with, but yet I was still facing, consequences of it. But
taking a class from what you've designed it to be face-to-face to taking a class completely online in a week is an experience I had not had before. It did really challenge me to think about what was most of value to people's education, what I wanted the class experience to be most like, what I wanted people to learn, and how I thought they could learn it most effectively. It did mean trying to be as gentle as possible too, because it's not just that we took the classes online, is that we took them online during a global pandemic. And that obviously had an effect on every single student's life in one way or another. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to make sure that I remained sensitive to what people were actually going through. And I always try to make sure that this is true in all my classes, that I realize that my class should be a focus and a priority sometimes, but there are also things in your life that might be more important. And that might mean foregoing an assignment or, not making a very good grade on something. But for a student, that might be the right choice, right? And that was kind of heightened by all of this. It's not that those things and those choices don't happen in other classes, but I wanted to make sure that I remained aware of what people were going through.
For a while, I was pretty depressed that everything was ending. I really enjoyed my time at Morningside, and I wanted these last few months to be filled with memories with my friends. With ODK, I was supposed to go to that conference. So pretty bummed, but it's gotten better. Now I've been working a lot with the school district I was hired with, so it's starting to get more positive.
But despite bumps in the road, Morningside community has been busy with new skills, marathoning new shows, or maintaining families.
I would not say I have taken up anything new or different. So, my days are fairly regimented. So, we've got 5 kids at home between the ages of, I'll say it's 3, 5, 10, 11, and 12. And so in the mornings, we are trying to do school time with them. And so we spend at least a couple of hours each morning doing intentional education, learning stuff. And that takes a lot of energy because you've got kids at so many different levels. So you spend a few hours just running from place to place. So the way that Jessica, my spouse, and psych professor from Morningside have been working things out is we've been trying to split half days. So,
well, I took up doing yoga with my mom. That's interesting. My favorite positions or poses or whatever they're called. I'm not very good. I'm a bad yogi. Excuse me. I like child pose, resting pose, which is just laying on the floor, and just like namaste, where you sit there. That's fun. Those are my 3 big ones. So yeah, I started doing that. I've done a lot of puzzles. I do enjoy a good jigsaw puzzle. Homework as expected. I've read a lot more than I normally do. Definitely some like Hulu and Netflix binging. I definitely reorganized my entire room, like rearranged, but that was technically during spring break, so I'm not gonna count that. Yeah, that's about it, I think. Just trying to keep myself busy. Oh, and I've watched a lot of TikToks. A lot.
I do have some. So, first of all, I work on stuff for school all day, every weekday. But I've been trying to be very intentional about making sure that I take a weekend, because otherwise every single day of the week is exactly the same. And that is bad for your brain, I have discovered. So, what I have been doing on my weekends is, one, I've been fermenting things, and I have been doing a sourdough starter. So I realize that every person in the world right now is doing sourdough bread, but it's because we're home and it's so easy to use a starter when you're home. You just feed it flour every day, no big deal. So I've made some really delicious things with sourdough at this point. I've made some really awesome pickles. I will say pickled red onions are the best thing in the world. Like, if you like onions at all, they are incredible. But I also just last weekend made my first ever batch of sourdough crumpets.
Oh dear. So for a while, I continued student teaching. I did Zooms at 9:30 for reading and 10:30 for math. And then the rest of the day, I sat around, watched a lot of Netflix. I've tried to have a kind of a workout routine just so I'm not constantly sitting. Recently, I moved back home to hang out with my brother. He's immunocompromised, and so he can't go outside, really. So he and I have been watching a lot of movies together, playing games, and just trying to keep him entertained.
And with not seeing the familiar Morningside faces, some are still finding ways to keep their spirits up.
Hope. I'm optimistic that we're going to be able to open this fall in a face-to-face fashion, and it'll be different. It's not going to be the same as it was prior to COVID-19. I mean, I'm sure we'll have some limitations on things that we're able to do, but I'm looking forward to the day that we get back to some sense of normalcy.
One, I'm really intentional about doing some kind of moving every day. So my yoga game has never been better. But the thing that really brightens my day is just a nice message from anybody. Just a personal, hey, how are you? From just about anybody is so wonderful. Like, students will occasionally just send me a line that's just real quick, oh, hey, thanks for that. And it's an immediate, like, dopamine hit. I love it so much. So just contact with people and just people being nice. So I try to do that too, like, just to send back a little hey, thanks, just as often as I can. I think it's what's keeping me going, so I like to hope I'm helping other people keep going too.
Until Morningsiders see each other back on campus again, sending a message of positivity and asking how are you doing helps push towards tomorrow.